Welcome back to News Around, dear viewers, your lighthouse in the endless sea of celebrity storms, hidden truths, and the emotional undercurrents behind Turkey's most captivating stars. Before we open today's extraordinary chapter, one that many believed would never be written again, don't forget to subscribe, tap the join button, and help our growing community continue to shine a brighter spotlight on stories that matter. Your likes, comments, and support keep this channel alive, and we are endlessly grateful. There are moments in the world of entertainment that arrive without fireworks, without choreography, and without the theatrical excess that usually accompanies celebrity narratives. And yet, they strike with more force than any public declaration. That is precisely what has unfolded around Çağatay Ulusoy and Hazal Kaya, a duo whose chemistry once electrified a generation and whose drift into silence left millions wondering whether their chapter had quietly closed forever. But fate, as it sometimes does, has reopened a page that no one expected to see touched again. It began with a sentence, nothing more, and yet it carried the weight of a long-buried confession. Çağatay did not posture. He did not attempt to reclaim the spotlight with dramatic flourish. Instead, in a restrained and almost fragile moment, he admitted that if destiny granted him one more chance, he would no longer attempt to sculpt the story to his rhythm. He would allow her, Hazal, to define the direction. The words were neither rehearsed nor polished. They sounded like a man finally stepping out from behind the curtain he had hidden behind for too many years. Within minutes, the phrase expanded like wildfire across social platforms. Fans who had mourned the seemingly permanent disconnect between the two found themselves standing before an unexpected horizon, a doorway appearing where only a blank wall had seemed to exist. To understand why these words stirred so much emotion, one must return to the origin of their connection. Years ago, while working side by side in a series that dominated national television, the boundary between fiction and reality blurred. The intensity they brought to their roles didn't fade when the cameras stopped rolling. If anything, the off-screen moments became even more telling, stolen glances, unspoken agreements, a kind of synergy that seemed too organic to be choreographed. Audiences wondered whether the relationship unfolding before their eyes was performance or truth, and whispers quickly grew into fascination. But real stories rarely follow fairy-tale arcs. Over time, the pressure of industry demands, relentless media scrutiny, and the simple exhaustion of young love under a spotlight took their toll. Rumors stretched thin their connection, misunderstandings thickened, silence became easier than explanation. Yet through all the noise, Hazal remained unwaveringly discreet. She carried her boundaries like armor, refusing to turn personal wounds into entertainment for tabloids. Her silence became a statement in itself, measured, mature, quietly dignified. Çağatay, conversely, wore his reflections more openly. Never dramatic, never theatrical, but always tinged with the subtle ache of someone who understood, perhaps too late, that pride can dismantle what tenderness tries to protect. His interviews often carried fragments of regret, nothing explicit, but enough for attentive listeners to sense the lingering shadow. And then, in a twist that seems almost cinematic, the two found themselves face to face once more. No cameras. No stylists. No curated narratives. Just two individuals carrying the weight of the same history, confronting it with a calmness that suggested neither sought to rewrite the past, only to understand it. Sources whisper that the meeting was surprisingly grounded. No raised voices. No accusations. No fragile egos attempting to win an invisible argument. It felt, reportedly, like two travelers revisiting a familiar room they once knew intimately, only now with the wisdom of distance. A few days later came the moment that stunned everyone. During an interview that had nothing to do with love or reconciliation, a journalist casually nudged the question many had avoided. And instead of dodging or deflecting, Kagate met the inquiry head-on. He acknowledged that in the past, he had caused pain without intent. He recognized that sometimes the one who receives the greatest wound is the one least deserving of it. And then came the line that reshaped the conversation entirely. If life extended even a sliver of grace, he would let her lead. Not dominate. Not direct. Simply lead. In a world that often confuses control with affection, his surrender felt almost revolutionary. And hey, if you're enjoying this deep dive into Turkey's most iconic duo, don't forget, here at News Around, your support shapes everything we create. Hit the like button, leave your thoughts, and join our channel to help us continue uncovering these powerful stories with the respect and detail they deserve. As social media spiraled into a frenzy. Fan edits resurfacing, nostalgic clips gathering millions of views, something quieter was happening beneath the noise. Many recognized a transformation in Kagate that had been unseen for years. Friends close to him began hinting that his language, his posture, even his energy had shifted. He no longer attempted to translate Hazal's emotions for her. He no longer sought to rationalize the past. Instead, he spoke of love as something expansive, something that needed room rather than direction. If she needed silence, he would not press. If she needed time, he would not attempt to calculate it. If she ever returned, he would not steer, he would simply show up as someone who finally understood the value of listening. As for Hazal, her response was characteristically understated but deeply telling. During a recent public appearance, someone posed a question about forgiveness, whether it belonged in a story that had already lived one full cycle. She smiled a small, enigmatic smile, the kind that reveals just enough while protecting the rest. She said that sometimes actions carry more weight than declarations. The world interpreted her answer as a subtle acknowledgement of his transformation. Perhaps it was. Or perhaps it was simply a truth she had always carried. Whatever the intention, the impact was undeniable. Industry insiders have begun watching this shift with sharpened curiosity. Producers whisper about potential collaborations. Projects that could reunite the duo in front of the camera, whether as star-crossed lovers, restrained confidants, or two souls navigating the delicate terrain of rediscovery. The excitement building around their possible return is palpable, almost electric. Fans insist that no two actors embody emotional intelligence with the same authenticity. The very idea of them sharing the screen once again feels like the kind of reunion poetic enough to border on destiny. But the heart of the story is not spectacle. It is evolution. The courage to admit past mistakes. The strength to soften after years of guarding oneself. The discipline to listen instead of lead. The wisdom to understand that love is neither a possession nor a victory, it is a practice. Hazal, with her emphasis on respect and consistency, stands like a lighthouse. Kagate, with his newfound humility, approaches the shore differently than before. Together, even in this fragile in-between space, they model a form of emotional maturity that often disappears under fame's harsh spotlight. And so, viewers of News Around, we turn the final question to you, the community that has carried their story through every rumor, pause, and resurrection. Do they deserve a second horizon? Should love that once lost its way be invited home, or are some stories meant to remain untouched, preserved in the soft glow of memory? Tell us what you believe in the comments below. And remember, your voice shapes our conversations, your insights deepen our understanding, and your presence turns this channel into a living, breathing community. Thank you for watching News Around. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, leave a comment, and tap join if you want to support independent storytelling that goes beyond the headlines. Until the next story, we'll be here, uncovering the truths that move beneath the glitter.